Hi, Ann Cornick from Paintnporcelain Exchange. I'm here to get beginners started in China painting, and today's live I think will particularly help the beginners because we're going to talk about every liquid that we ever use that I can find in my stuff. And I'm also here to help those that have been painting a while keep painting and keep interested, and invite friends and invite people, because we need to get more people interested in China painting. So as much as possible, share what you know. So that's what we're going to do today. I have this long list of liquids that I have. In addition to that, I should tell you, one of my good resources that I use all the time is that it's the PPIO online site. Marcy Blattenberg is the one that manages that site, and it is filled with information. I'm a paid member, and so I can get into the searchable database, which there's a lot of stuff on there that you don't have to be a paid member to get, but that searchable database has saved me a number of times when I needed something. And in this case, I went in and I printed out the whole oils and mediums thing that she had on there in case questions come up that I'm not familiar with. And in addition, I looked up mixing medium this morning for the very first time, and I learned some surprising information, which I will share with you. I would say if you get a chance to join the PPIO online, there is a slight fee, but it's nothing compared to the amount of information that you can get. All right, let's start with the basics. When you're mixing your paint, you can mix it with mineral oil. And it just comes in a bottle like this. It's clear, it's real oily, okay? You use this to mix your paints. It will keep them open indefinitely, especially if you have them well sealed. So when I mix up my metallics, for example, I mix them all up so I know what colors I have. Now look at that. That was mixed a while ago, and they're still as good as the day that I mixed them, I think. Oh yeah, oh yeah. So you can put these in a plastic bag too, like a baggie, and zip it. And that will also help to keep them really fresh if you put them on a pallet and then put the pallet in a baggie. So mineral oil is what I use to mix my paints. I don't paint with it. Now you can paint with it. Some people who use mineral oil also use baby oil, and they say it's a more refined version of mineral oil. We have several in the Lansing area here in Michigan that use it regularly. Baby oil, I tried to use that, and I tried to paint with it too, because the group that we have here in Michigan paints with it. And again, I had the same problem I did with mineral oil. So not to belabor that, but mineral oil is an open medium, and it's good for mixing your paints. If you paint with mineral oil, they do come out a little darker. But it stays open forever, which is a good thing if you're maybe a beginning painter in some ways, because it keeps you from having to worry about everything closing up on you. But on the other hand, it's very oily. And because it's very oily, I think it tends to run more for beginner painters. So I wouldn't recommend it. Okay, I'm going down my list of what I have. Isopropyl alcohol to clean my china, and I just keep it in a spray bottle. I have a little bottle that I've had eyeglass cleaner in. I cleaned it out and I put isopropyl alcohol in. I get my isopropyl alcohol also at the grocery store. So this is what it looks like. And it works fine. And then I spray it on and wipe it off with, I use tissues all the time. I use these tissues that are not scented, and wipe it off. And when I paint, it seems like the paint flows better, but it might be in my head. But that's isopropyl alcohol. Okay. Terpenoid. Now, there are two kinds of terpenoid, but right now we're talking about the kind that you use to clean your brush with. This is terpenoid odorless. But terpenoid comes in this bottle. It's white with the blue on it. And then terpenoid natural, which you can also use to clean your brushes, comes in this kind of a bottle, and it has the green label on it. So you'll hear people say, use terpenoid natural with the green label. This is what they mean. Okay, now, terpenoid I used for a while to clean my brushes. and I used it like turpentine, only it's odorless. And so some of the people in our club were very susceptible to odors, and so I tried to use the turpenoid odorless. And I will tell you, I don't think it cleans as well as regular turpentine. So I also tried odorless mineral spirits. I don't have any right here to show you, but the mineral spirits, now all of these, you have to be careful. Mineral spirits and turpentine, you have to be careful. Strippies has been making these for use on furniture, and the Strippies version of these doesn't work on china. It's very astringent, I guess is the best word I can use, and it seems to it kills your brushes, and it just doesn't seem to work very well. So if it says Strippies on it, you don't want that. I am lucky I have Dick Blick right here in the area, but you can also go to Michael's or what's the other one that a lot of people use? I can't think. It's down by our home goods store. Anyway, and get art supplies there. So if you have art supplies anywhere close to a university, you might be able to get them there. And I use, this is Utrecht, U-T, I know you can't read that at all. It's U-T-R-E-C-H-T, and it's Gum Spirits Turpentine. And this honestly doesn't have a smell, at least not to me, but then my smell isn't the best, but I've used it with people who are sensitive to smells, and they haven't had a problem with it. So I use the turpentine because I prefer that to clean my brushes more so than the turpenoid or the mineral spirits. The thing you can clean your china with is awesome. It comes like this. I buy it at the dollar store or the grocery store. I love Awesome. Awesome, I use, well, let me give you an example. I spilled a whole vial of red paint on me, blood red, on my jeans. I sprayed this on and I washed them and it all came out. The other thing is, this works great to clean your brushes, even though I know a lot of the luster people haven't tried it, but Eloise and I have been using Awesome to clean our brushes for lusters, and it works really, really well. So if you need something to clean, I don't clean my plate with this. I use the isopropyl alcohol, but I suppose you could. Yeah, I don't think it would hurt anything. When I first started getting estates and things, I went through and I went, I'm never going to use that. I'm never going to use that. And then later on, I wished I hadn't done that. So I have, you can see here, I have this that's full of different, I can't tilt it. And I have a couple of drawers, and I just got 2 bags of oils and things from somebody. So hang on to them. They're important. You'll eventually figure out what they're used for. Okay, painting mediums. There are a bajillion painting mediums, and every teacher pretty much has their own painting medium. So the basic, if you're a new painter, there are 2 things you need to worry about. One is, do you want it to dry fast? Do you want it to dry slow? Do you want it to dry kind of in between? Okay, 3 things. So I use Turpenoid Natural as a painting medium. It dries kind of in between. So if you start painting, say a 10-inch plate, and you start on the top, and then you do some painting in between, and then you go back to change things on the top, they will already be somewhat dry. That's what Turpenoid Natural is. Now, I have, this is a jar of the old Copaiba. When I open this jar, it smells of the old way. It was made by the National Wholesale Drug Company in Detroit, Michigan. And the dark, there are 2 kinds of Copaiba. There's the dark and there's the light. Now, if you talk to Mary Ashcroft, she swears by the dark. She uses it as part of her painting medium. She uses the dark balsam of Copaiba, and it's called Copaiba or balsam of Copaiba. And then she adds the 8 parts of that, 1 part of lavender oil, and 1 part of clove oil. So this is the dark, And it's not just the bottle that's dark. And this is the light. Now, I have taken Willoughby's. This is a Willoughby's. I also got this from Mary Ashcroft. I take the Willoughby's and I mix it half with mineral oil and half with this. That's why I have like a little half jar here. And I've painted with that. Randy Willett is the one that told me about it. He also adds, I think, a little bit of cloves or lavender oil, but bottom line is you can just do half and half, and it paints very well, and it gives you very dark colors. And I do like it, but I like a more drying medium, so, but that's just a hint. Okay, so that's oil of copaiba. Now let's talk about, I'm just going through these. This is one that my mother's China painting teacher made up on her own, Mary Patuski. And she combined medium plus with copaiba. And she made this. And if you smell it, it brings back the old days of China painting. Oh my God. But don't sniff your oils, please. Okay, this is Oro Blue. And I've tried this. This is an oil. Can you see a little face on there? That's Oro Blue. It's all in French. It's a medium, and you can use it to paint with, and it stays fairly open. So if you have any of that, and it's old stuff. I also have Max painting medium, M-A-C-K. And this is called Light. Now, I don't know, unless it's just the color, I don't know if it's not as heavy as copaiba. Is that why they called it Light? If anybody knows it, I would be interested to know. Then I have a non-drying mixing medium. So this is something you can use in place of mineral oil to mix your paints. I haven't tried this, as you can see, so I don't know if it works or not. This is from Rynne, R-Y-N-N-E. They're gone out of business. Rynne and Rinaldi's were both here in Michigan. They're gone. But this is one of theirs, so it probably works. Then I have Sabatella's. Sabatella's was very popular for a while. This is a China medium. It's a nice formula. I painted with it for a while. It paints very well. It's never gummy. I also have Jane Marks. Yeah, hers were one of my favorites. This is a Barbara Jensen painting medium, and it says right on it what she used: balsam of copaiba, mineral oil, and oil of cloves, and that's how she made her painting medium. So it's basically the same one that probably Randy uses. But that's what this is, and that's what it looks like. Hers is light, so she probably used the light balsam of copaiba in it. I want to talk about two others that I'm shocked. This will shock you. Okay, so you know when you do wet grounding, you use MX54, and I thought, okay, I think I could only get MX54 in Canada. Now, I haven't smelled it to know if it's, oh yeah, it does smell the same. It smells like pine sol. What does that tell you? I looked it up several different places, and in fact, I have it from the PPIO site that MX54 is pine oil with something else in it. But she uses it all the time. And it's the advantage is that the colors stay open a little longer than fat oil, but they also harden up and you can do all kinds of things with it. So this is pine oil. Now pine oil hardens pretty quickly. MX54 does too, as far as I'm concerned. So if you want to do wet grounding, you mix this with your paint and then you pounce. So you could do it with pine oil, I would think, as well. Now, pine oil, if you're allergic to smells, is a killer. Yeah, it smells, they both smell an awful lot like pine sol, if you've ever used it. So, but Nancy Gilmore in Michigan paints with pine oil. And what she does with pine oil is amazing because she likes the fact that it dries quickly, so you can paint something and then you can paint around it or over it or under it, and it won't affect it, like whiskers on squirrels or hair, or the smaller, more delicate things that you do, like if you're painting birds, the little outlines to their feathers. Put it over there. I have several bottles of gold essence. This is Rinaldi's. It says use sparingly to condition all liquid bright preparation. Splendid brush cleaner. It's actually on here. So you can obviously use gold essence to clean your brush. It's extremely expensive these days if you can find it. And it also will thin your gold. If you need to thin your gold, you can use gold essence. Now, gold is nothing but a luster. So I suspect you could also use it to thin your lusters. Then there is Gold Facilitator, which is more of a brush cleaner for Liquid Bright. This I use more as a brush cleaner for Liquid Bright. But there's Gold Facilitator, if you ever get this. And what I tend to do, and you might want to do as well, and what some of these people have done, I write right on the top. So I write on the top of gold essence that I can use it for luster. And I write on the top of these, like lavender oil and clove oil, what you can use them to mix, what you can mix with. Okay, Coke syrup and sugar water, 7-Up, but it can't be diet. You can use that, but it's soda syrup. So this is Coca-Cola that I use. And you mix it with your paint, and then when you draw it's kind of like a pen oil in that when you draw with it, if you make outline things with it, it will stay and it will harden as it goes, so that you don't have to constantly, you can paint over it and stuff. So I like Coke syrup. I keep a book. It's an alphabetical listing, and what I do is under the like L for lavender, I write in, like I've got something here about marbleizing luster. I have reconstituting luster. I have luster combinations, and then I have lavender in here. So what do you use lavender for? You have to use the real lavender. You can't use the imitation. If you use the imitation, you will have a problem. This is oil of lavender, and I use it for gold and luster. You can, I believe, soften luster with a little bit of lavender. I also use it to clean my brush, and it dries slowly. So if you are making up your own concoction to paint with, paint medium, I think when we talked about this one that Barbara Jensen did, she put cloves in it. That dries a little faster and a little harder. If you put lavender in it, the lavender will help it not to dry quite so quick, okay? And usually, like I said, I write on the top of my bottle what I use it for, because, or with permanent marker. So on my lavender oil, because I can never remember, I wrote open, luster, gold, and enamel. So I can mix enamel with this. I can use it with gold. And this says the same thing, luster, gold, and enamel. And I write that on the top so that I remember. I have enamel thinner. This is an enamel thinner medium made by Doris Jambura. She's long gone, but this was good stuff. So if you come across an enamel thinner, this is an enamel thinner. It's called Golden Raised Paste by Margaret Vinson. And it's an enamel thinner. Usually enamel thinner will say enamel thinner on it. And I have talked to people who do enamel. I don't do enamel. But for people who use enamel, and let me just check against my notes here just to make sure, they say that enamel thinner is better. Oh, you can also thin with rectified turpentine. I've never found rectified turpentine. I have never had a reason to use it. Rectified turpentine can replace a thinner. It's available through Dick Blick, apparently. You can thin it. If you mix up your enamel, you can thin it with turpentine. So, but the thinner seems to work the best. So most people said they can't get the thinners anymore, but if you could get a thinner or you come across one and it's still good, use it for your enamel. That one is a good one. Okay, this bottle is oil of cloves. Everybody knows about oil of cloves. Clove oil dries slowly, but when it does dry, it dries hard, okay? It dries firm, but it takes a while. So that's why a lot of people add clove oil. Now, it does have a smell, and I'm going to open this one. And it smells just like the cloves that I use on my ham. So it's obviously the right stuff. If you get a liquid and you're not sure what it is, sometimes if you smell it, you can figure it out. But I wouldn't, I wouldn't say that's the best test for it. Luster essence, if you have luster essence, it thins luster, and it is also a dispersant. So because it thins it, obviously. So if you put luster on something and you want to make it, disperse, you can put luster essence on it. If it's not bisque, if it's glazed china, and it will spread out. And I think that's always interesting. Now, another one that we use a lot is Red Resist. It's not always a liquid. Sometimes it's something else. But Red Resist is kind of my nemesis. I don't like Red Resist, but this one is pretty liquidy. I got this one from Nancy Bergman. I think she made it thinner to begin with, and it's lasted pretty well for me. If it does gum up, what I've been told, and it does work, although I know a lot of people would say, absolutely don't do this. So you can add a few drops of lukewarm water from the tap and just stir it and see if that works. I always stir it with a palette knife. It gets through it a little better. Continue with a drop or two and stir well and add more warm water until it gets to the correct consistency. Well, that's well and fine, but if you're like me, half the time when I get this Red Resist and it sits for a while, it turns into a lump of coal. So I take and I put 3 to 4 drops of water into it, and I put it in the microwave for 5 seconds, like just enough, just beep, and then I stir it, and I keep doing that until it becomes the right consistency, and that seems to hold for a while. If you're going to use the Red Resist over luster, remember you need to, it fired luster rather, you need to put turpentine down first or it will stick permanently and you'll have a mess. Make sure to remove all the resist prior to firing or it will fire black, yes. Oh, pen oil, okay. These are my 2 favorite pen oils. They are from Dallas, China. But, it's a personal preference. Just because I like them doesn't mean they're going to work for you. I have a terrible time writing my name. Still do to this day. I like the drying pen oil from Dallas. Has a letter and numbers across the top. It's AGS 21. And it's a drying pen oil. And see the size? What is that, an ounce? 2 ounces? I've had this for well over 6-7 years, and I've only used that amount. The other one is called Easy Flow. Now, it was funny, when I was getting ready for this, I went through and I found this old bottle of Easy Flow. That's how it used to look like. And it's pen work medium, Easy Flow. They now have a number AMP5 on it. So if you want to get, and that stays open. So the drying one, like if you want to sign your name and then you want to do background and you don't want it to get smeared, you can use the drying one. The downside of using the drying pen oil is sometimes it dries up while you're trying to use it and you have to keep adding stuff to it to keep it open. So I only use it for small projects, but you could use it for a big one. It's also a good one to use for scrolling and things like that. But the Easy Flow seems to flow a lot quicker. There's also outlining oil. This is Rin's outlining oil, or Ryan's, however you call it. It's a thin oil like that. I know that Sherry Kruger swears by the outlining oil. This is another one, outlining medium. This is from MAC. I don't know if MAC is still out there or not, but she swears by this. I learned with it initially. I still never had any luck with it. And then this is just a pen medium, and it's Sealy's pen medium. So if you get these and they're fine, you know, I mean, look at that. It's liquidy enough. Try them. Don't throw them out. It says Wink right there. W-H-I-N-K, Wink. You'll hear people say, just wink that piece, which basically means take this stuff, which is a rust stain remover, and put it on the piece and gently work to get the paint off if you've made a mistake. Now, this is, it says, may be fatal or cause permanent damage, causes severe burns. It's very, 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 very toxic and difficult to use for some people. Some people have, it has acid in it, hydrofluoric acid. The vapors can be harmful. Okay, so how do I use it? Because I still use it. I take just a Q-tip. I put, this has a hole in the top of it, so you can squirt out just a teeny tiny amount. I take a Q-tip, pointed Q-tip, and I just dip it in there. And I use it only, let's say I'm painting a piece and I didn't know I had paint in my hands, and I get some of the paint on the back, just a little smudge. I use it to get that kind of stuff off. And all I can do is I keep dabbing it and dabbing it. I wear rubber gloves when I use it. You should too. If you are prone to having any allergies or things like that, keep the windows open or do it outside. Emily Wiley is dead set against this stuff. And what she tells me to do instead is take my Dremel and put the sanding attachment on it and lightly try to do that. I'm sorry, Wink works for me, so I'm continuing to use it. But I use it with precautions, obviously. I don't just use it. So pick up those brushes and keep painting. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.